Welcome back, everybody. Live here on Trampled Underfoot Podcast, the show.
Yeah. The show, the myth, the legend. That's us. What's shaking?
Hell yeah. What did you do there? Did you do a magnifying?
I zoomed out just a little bit because it was zoomed in too close even for me.
You know, that's kind of trippy because you that caught my attention because you were like that, and then you went whoosh, and it just zooped out, and it reminded me of those. Did you know that a lot of the 60s music, and don't worry, Steve, it's not like we're going into 60s music tonight, but I just a lot of the 60s music videos, footage, the cameramen love to jiggle the camera or display some weird, and they ruined a lot of good usable for our standards today. Like, do it in post. Leave it alone.
It was all part of that psychedelic style. They did it on TV too, where you can go back and you can find episodes of Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In from like 60, I want to say 68, 69, but 1970 as well, when the whole psychedelic thing was big. And like they would have a dancer out there just dancing away, sometimes Goldie Hawn, sometimes Judy Carnes, sometimes somebody else, but they're out there dancing away and everything, and the camera is panning, swinging wild to the left and right, zooming in and coming out, stuff. It was all over the place. It was that high energy. We're not the Ed Sullivan Show with a frozen camera sitting there pointing here and then cut over to this one, which is pointing over there. You know,
they ruined Cream with Eric Clapton, Jack. What was his name? The bass player?
Jack Bruce and Ginger Baker.
They ruined their last concert where they're like, when it was going, and they're like shaking it. The damn cameraman is shaking the camera. They totally ruined. And a lot of those shows, they ruined it. So you could nowadays, but they didn't have that idea. Even then, they could do a clean edit and then take it and then mess with it. But no, they mess with it on site. Freaking ruined the stuff.
There is probably clean footage out there because not all cameramen did that. A lot of that was up to the director. And while one camera was busy doing that kind of stuff, the other cameras were basically stable because they had, there was no need for them to be moving around and jerking around. But even today, they do that today. And news cameramen will tell you that that's something they do on purpose. They will whoa and jiggle around the camera and everything when nothing is really happening out there to kind of give a little bit more of an illusion of more excitement than there actually is.
Right. But for connoisseurs and stuff, I would have preferred to see Eric Clapton's long solos without, like, for instance, and this is the last I'll say of it because actually I have something else too. I don't know. This is all Steve's fault anyhow. Because if you for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Right.
I don't know if that's true factually, but it sounds good. And it might be true.
Yes.
And in human interaction, you always get like that old, a bunch of buddies are going to go eat Burger King. And then they say, no, let's go to Taco Bell. No, let's go to Arby's. No, let's go to here. And you can't get people to agree on anything. You know what I'm saying? But, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying you're absolutely right.
Yeah. So they ruined his darn contrast Eric Clapton Cream with, and again, sorry for extending the music talk, Neelan. Eric Clapton's Cream compared to a concert that was filmed in a bar like Stevie Ray Vaughan at the El Macambo. They filmed him steady as it goes. And you got all the shots. You could see the sweat dripping. No, not these psychedelic people. They're like, da 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 da, and the shaking the freaking camera, and so they ruined it. But anyways, I didn't mean to go into a whole tirade with that. I do ask for your forgiveness, Neelan over there.
You're assuming he's still watching. He's waiting for his cue to post links.
He's probably waking up. So now I did want to say that I did do I have to confess that we have a title, and it's called "You Can't Fix Stupid." Victimhood. It's fine. I'm used to it being my fault, and I can always use the nap. Okay, so and I'm just fooling around, obviously. But the title, back in the day, talking about music from back in the day, they used to come up with titles willy-nilly, and people, for instance, the Beatles, people would buy the records and really like examine the titles and what do they mean, what's the deep meaning behind oobla dee oobla da and whatever. And they'd ask the Beatles and said, we were just smoking dope and came up with the lyrics, or they'd say something so simplistic,
right? And
people read into things a lot, and there are things that need reading into, but whatever. So the title, which is "You Can't Fix Stupid," is a culmination of a bunch of stuff that's been going on as I've been watching people expressing outrage and expressing this and that. And so what I did was, as I had to look for a title, I really didn't have to, but I thought about, I said, "You can't fix stupid." And the art of it is a finger pointing that says, "You can't fix stupid," or something to that effect. I don't know. I have to go back. Or "I'm with stupid." Mm-hmm. It's got that finger, that classic, "Hi, I'm with stupid." And then you have the two shirts that go matching, pointing in the right direction if you're not stupid. But, and then there's a mirror on the opposite side. Did you notice that or no?
I did. It took me a minute to figure out what that was, but then I figured out, it's a mirror and a frame. Nice one.
Yeah. And so the reason I say that is that, I cannot, as much as I'd love to, and I'll use you as an example.
Oh, thanks.
Well, no problem. I cannot, for the life of me, if I'm honest, in my mind, think all the calculations that you make in your head to arrive at whatever conclusion on whatever amount of topics there is in this world that conform to your particular, area, thought process, focus, and all that. I'm basically, by that title, calling out arrogant control freak people in a very double entendre or, sort of like Easter egg type way. These people out there that they know more about other people than the other people. They know so much. And I've always lived my life more so. No, I've always, because my dad taught me. My dad taught me, c'est la vie. Mm-hmm. Let others go about their business as long as it does not interfere with yours. Heck, my mom taught me. My grandparents taught me that on both sides. It wasn't even a one-side doubtful thing. I was taught down the line, to people have their ways and this and that. And you can, if you're willing to partake, but this arrogance that I've seen, it's too much, if you know what I mean.
Well, see, you have a higher threshold than I do, because I look at the difference between ignorance and stupid, and it's a profound difference. Ignorance means you just don't know. And you only know what you know. You don't really know what you don't know because you don't know it. Yeah, and if you don't know, fine. I mean, we're all ignorant on one level or another. Nobody absolutely. In this world knows everything.
It can't be.
But the difference between ignorance and stupidity is ignorance is you don't know. Stupidity is you know, and you do it anyway. To me, that's what I was taught was the difference between ignorance and stupidity. If you're driving nails and you hit your thumb with the hammer stuff happens to the best of us.
Mm-hmm.
I got a mark on a finger right now where I smacked my finger with a hammer. It's when you know that you're gonna hit your thumb if you keep it on the head of that nail and you keep it there anyway. It is not the hammer's fault. It's not the nail's fault. And it's not the job of either company to make you independently wealthy because you stuck your hammer there and then hit it.
I've hit my, and I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I've used hammer all my life in various applications, and none of them were busting store windows. I can add that.
Well,
but while nailing in a nail, I've struck my thumb various times, even though, and I know, but there's situations, so we're liable to make the same mistakes again.
Well, sure.
As human beings,
things happen. I mean, it's all a part of being human. But it's when you know better than to stick a screwdriver into the light socket. If you do it anyway, that's not ignorance.
Yes, agreed.
So.
Well, I'll throw in. We have Anna B, and she says ignorance means also that you just don't want to know. There's a lot of people that also want to not know, and be it what it is, and you could live a happier life without the excess things that come in on you. So I understand that as well. We can't know everything anyhow, and we do need to filter things that come into our screen, because if not, we'd go bonkers, right? Like if like you right now said, Eloy, freaking rocket science, and then we went down that, I probably couldn't digest that, and so we have to choose to sort of navigate. But my point, go ahead.
Especially if you're not interested in it.
Well, yeah.
If you're not interested in it, I could very easily start sounding like Charlie Brown's school teacher in a very short period of time, where it's just and the words just aren't registering off the back of your head. You don't want to know. So her point is true. But whether you want to know or not, if you don't know, you just simply don't know. And I can forgive that. I really can. What I can't forgive is the general overall stupidity.
It depends on the application, and it depends on the scenario, because we do have to have a specific set of sort of guidelines that we go about, because I know that I am me as best as I can tell. I'm not you. I know I have a certain amount of confidence that I'm me and that I'm not you, because when I stub my toe, you don't scream. I'm the one that screams. I'm not. Right. I have a certain amount of confidence that I am me and I'm not you, because when I have to pay a bill, I don't hear you, going, oh crap, and I hear me. So the reason I say that is that because of that fact, it implies that I am responsible for me. Wow. It implies that and you're someone else there. Now we have to operate at a certain level, so it would not be right for me to, I hate to bring it up, go to you and take those bills out of your wallet in order to pay my stuff. Right. Unless I thought erroneously, because it doesn't work out at the end if you do the math. If I thought that, well, what's mine is yours and what's yours is mine, because you're me, and you can have that transcendental ideology, but we all know that the things that come out of our mouth are our responsibility. The things that we act upon are our responsibility. And so that's why I did the art that people can point their thumbs at others, and we're all guilty of it to a greater or lesser degree. We're human.
We're doing it now.
Well, I'm analyzing it as an overall, and we are doing it now at a very real level. But I'm doing it from the level of this to conclude at least my portion of it.
Sure.
Whereas others are saying, and you must, I'm saying, because that's the conclusion. Where others are saying that you must, pointing that finger at the mirror, what I'm saying is, I control my existence, and you control yours. You would be responsible for yours. I'll be responsible for mine. And because there's a thing called don't steal, we don't steal, because it's not beneficial to anybody. I could go ahead and rob, and I'm taking from someone, but see, I wouldn't want people to take from me. So there's a golden rule that occurs. So that's what I'm saying, is that everybody do as they please, don't interfere with my stuff. Don't interfere with me. And that's the golden rule. And I was taught that, and maybe down the line, all my people were wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe the idea is you want frickin' your electronic doohickeys, you go get them. You break that. You go inside. You take that thing. If you see someone in your way, you go ahead and smash them upside the head. If you see a car that's better, you go ahead and take the. What I'm trying to say is that I call bullshit on all of them. Oops, sorry.
Sure, edit. And I'll stop you when I disagree.
Yeah, well, so that's the point. So that's the thing about the finger. We're responsible for ourselves.
Well, I'm with you 100% on that entire mirror thing, because half of the people that are pointing outward need to stand in front of a mirror when they do that, and really stop and think of it. But then again, that requires a little bit of introspection and maybe a little bit of working on yourself first. And it's just a heck of a lot easier to call people names.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're all guilty of just about everything because we're human. But what I'm trying to say is that, do the least damage to others.
I'm with you. Yeah.
And that applies across the board. Yep. Do the least damage to others, because at the end of the day, we, and I see it, and I'll have a moment of a little bit more seriousness. So to me, I was, as every teenager, maybe a little bit more, a bit wild. And there were wilder people, but I really was wild in many ways. I never went about the business of trying to hurt other people because of, I guess, what I was taught, but I didn't have it in my heart, man. I don't have it in my heart to go after other people. I don't have it in my heart to kick someone when they're down. I just don't have it. I don't have the will. I don't even know what the benefit is of that. I just don't understand.
Yeah, I can't think of another benefit. I mean, other than ego or just, simple psychopath or sociopath, one or the other, pick your path. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not in me either.
I just look, and the final bit that I'll say, to me, this is a sincere thing that I'll say. Everybody that I interact with throughout my life, there's greater moments and lesser moments and stuff, but interactions, especially as and I've always known instinctually, but I kind of know better now. These interactions are special moments because they are moments that one shares between people, friendship, family. These are moments that you share that, if you understand life is a beginning, a journey, and an end, if you understand that block of existence, and you have kind of a little bit of a heart, meaning you can put your feet in someone else's shoes a little bit, meaning you're not the only person in existence in the world. There's other people dealing with similar and way worse and sometimes less, but we all are on a journey. If you understand all these things, or at least they crossed your mind, you don't want to damage other people. So it hurt me a lot, and it depressed me a lot, to see the evil all across the board, random as well. You could do the math and say that it's not random and say no because it's the cause of this. Look, coming from parents that were Cuban that lost, everything, they owned their businesses, and just because people, the ego, the arrogance, the frickin' using nobody cares, nobody talks about that. All these, it's not their experience. You could shout it from the mountain, but at the end of the day, it's too much. People think that they're eternal, and I call bull crap on them, all of them, like across the board, like this bull crap. And that is why, at the end of the day, I don't know, man, just the idea of harm towards others randomly because of race, status, this, and I just about, I'm not down with that plan. And being a robot for one particular side or the, none of that. It's too much, but I digress.
That was a 21-minute digression, but that's cool. I'm with you. I get you.
Yeah. So with that said,
okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Because I got something for you, but you go ahead.
No, go for it. I just want to revisit this later on if we have time.
Oh no, let's revisit. Let's do it now and then.
No, I don't want to interrupt the flow. You've got a couple of things.
You're screwing my edit up, man.
It's your edit. I don't care. I'll tap dance now.
Son of a gun. See, no, because we're going to change subject.
Was a bullfrog. No, go ahead.
While we're hot, do it, man. Do it. I want to hear what you got.
No, it's going to take a while, so that's why I want to
do it. Because what I've got is a divergence from all of this.
Okay, well, this kind of dovetails in because I'm going to be honest with you that when I saw that You Can't Fix Stupid, the first thing that popped into my brain was the Darwin Awards. So I didn't know if that's where you were going or not.
No.
You know what the Darwin Awards are, don't you?
I don't even know. Hey, I'm ignorant on that. And a million other things.
Oh my gosh. This started out back in the 80s when people were faxing stuff back and forth to one another. Just little funnies of how people basically took themselves out of the gene pool. And that's what the Darwin Awards are. It's basically recognizing individuals who have contributed to human evolution by selecting themselves to be taken out of the gene pool.
Oh, that's horrible, dude.
Either via death or sterility.
Okay.
But the thing about it is they had to do it themselves. And it's through stupidity.
Jeez, that's horrible, Mark.
It is horrible. It is dark. But it illustrates stupidity. For instance, there was a gentleman in India. This was in 2018. He pulled off to the side of the road to use the restroom. And his family was in the car. As he's off in the underbrush going to the bathroom.
Oh, I thought it was a proper toilet, but
no. He sees what he thinks is an injured bear off the side of the road. So did he call the authorities or just get out of there? No. He decides to whip out his cell phone and take a selfie.
Next to him, he put his paw around the back and said, "Come on."
He took his cell phone out of his pocket, got closer, and turned around to take a selfie. Well, the bear wasn't injured at all. It was just chilling out. He got up there, the bear turned around and basically made a meatball out of him. The bear just ripped him to shreds. That is stupidity.
I mean, let me just... Well, go ahead. Because
it's things like that,
Yeah. No, because there... Okay, how can I put this? There is some sort of thing that we call instinct in our heads, like a Spider-Man sense, that lights up and says, Eloy, you should wait for the green light.
Yeah.
Eloy, wait till check this out. Eloy, wait till the escalator, the automatic escalator, wait till the step is fully visible so that your foot will plant direct. Because, you could be bold and stuff. And I'm using that ridiculous example, but these are little things that as you're doing your whatnot across, a series of days, months, years, you have these little red flags that pop up to say, watch out. Oh, look at that guy walking across the road. That's I'm gonna go ahead and not or hey, I'm gonna walk in this. It's just whatever. We have a sort of thing called gut instinct. Use it,
Right. Now,
unless you're psychotic.
let me give you an example. You live just right down the road from the Everglades. You lived in you worked in the Everglades for several years.
Yeah.
Is there anything at all about a bear that makes you think, oh, selfie?
No.
I didn't mention the other funny part of this. He had a car full of family, wife, couple of kids. They all whipped out their phones and started filming this.
Oh, geez. The family?
Yeah, the family are just sitting there filming, watching dad get ripped to shreds. The dog was the only smart one of the bunch. The dog jumped out of the car and took off for the hills. The dog split. He's like, nope, there could be papers to sign. I got to get out of here.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Uh-huh. They watched him get mauled and filmed it.
I mean,
right. You can't fix stupid.
I mean, and those people, well, I hate to say, well, it's so you can't fix stupid. And then there's also a thing where people everybody has a degree of intelligence, where they're aware of a multitude of things, but there's a intelligence and then there's decency for your fellow man.
Right.
And when you start picking and choosing via color or class of people, when you do groupings of people and you start telling them because when you start with that, boy, you got to be a freaking genius. But I'll tell you what, the same people would not like the things happening to them. In other words, it's hypocrisy, it's arrogance, it's all these things. And I've seen a lot of that. I've seen a lot of arrogance and stuff. I'm going to have to call it. I'm not part of that group of people. I'm going to have to call it. I don't have that heart. I don't have it in me. I can't do that. We all are capable of like-minded things, but it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not down with the plan. So yeah. So the Darwin Awards. Wow.
Okay, well, that was just one example. I could go down the list. There's a whole bunch more. They also give honorable mentions to people who didn't take themselves out, but only because they were lucky. Like the genius down in California who attached a couple of weather balloons filled with helium to a lawn chair and had a BB gun so that he could shoot out the weather balloons and, bring him back down. He got up to 16,000 feet in a lawn chair and crept into controlled airspace. Basically, I don't remember if it was Ontario Airport or LAX, but he got close to their flight path and then had to shoot out the couple of the weather balloons so that he weighed more than what it was able to hold up. And he landed. He survived. He went to jail for a little while, but there's no part of me that says that isn't stupid. I'm sorry. I don't care if you think it's funny. I don't care if you think it's a thrill or what have you, but that's just stupid because he could just as easily, the minute he let go of the rope to start taking off, he could have shot up to 30,000 and just froze to death or asphyxiated himself to death.
But see, here's the thing. There's a difference between that where he's doing it to himself.
Oh yeah, that's all the Darwin Awards. They're doing it to yourself. That's right. The thing,
Well, I'm just saying that the doing it to yourself, although not benign because it affects the person doing it, but it's benign for the golden rule. It's you don't hurt others. So if you're going to do something stupid that only hurts you, well, I mean, I would suggest you don't. But guess what? If you do, as long as you don't hurt others, because that's I don't know if I'm making sense or not, but to me that's
I'm
the
with
line.
you. I get you.
That's the line,
Yeah.
right? And so yeah, so anyways, so the whole bit about I'm with stupid is kind of a cultural term. There's other terms that we use, and although this list is not an exhaustive list, and although this list is not, let's say, unheard of, but I just want to hear what you guys think about this list that I'm about to, if you don't mind. These are weird English phrases. Less emphasis on the weird, because a lot of them are, probably most of them are completely understandable to all of us, but maybe not. Maybe we don't know some of these phrases. So do you mind me sharing?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
I'm waiting on you.
So this is weird English phrases, and you tell me if you know what they mean, what you think they mean. Everyone out there, join in. And I do want to take a moment and mention that we do have a podcast on Spreaker, and that's Trampled Underfoot Podcast. We also have a website. It's trampledunderfootpodcast.com. On that website, we have a button that says Wayback Machine, and if you click it, we do have our past episodes on there, so you could go check that out. We also have a
Facebook page.
That's right.
Trampled Underfoot Podcast on Facebook. Come on over there, say howdy, give us a thumbs up, give us a thumbs down, whichever you prefer. Make a show suggestion if you got something that you'd like to hear us talk about, or something that you'd like to hear us shut up about. Let us know. Are we doing good? Are we doing bad? Do you even know who we are? Trampled Underfoot Podcast on Facebook.
That's right. And we're also sponsored by Harneal Media. That's harnealmedia.com. And that's run by Steve Nealon. And what they do over there is that they'll set up a web store for you, whatever you're selling. And there's a lot of high-profile names you could go and check out and see who the clients are over at harnealmedia.com. But what they do is Steve will get your store or website up and running, as well as get gear for you ready. Just a whole slew of things you could go check out, and that's harnealmedia.com. Best prices on the web, guaranteed. Yeah,
go for it. Yeah, that was your lead in. I thought you were ready for you to go to your list.
So here's the weird English phrases and their meanings.
Okay.
Well, the meaning we'll leave out because
well,
we want to hear what you say.
You realize, of course, you're talking to a word nerd that studied English, so I'm double dangerous on this. But go for it.
I want to see if you what you glean from some of these, and if they're exact, or I think you're going to do real good on this one.
Okay.
But we'll see. So
okay.
Over the moon.
Over the moon.
If you need me to put it in a sentence or whatever, the English saying over the moon.
I'd kind of like to hear what the site that you're drawing these from has to say about it, just to get that, because I don't really have a definition. I know what it means. It's just like to be, ecstatic or extremely happy about something. But where the root is, I really don't know where that came from.
Okay, so that's absolutely the case. It's to be absurdly happy about something, and they say taken from a nursery rhyme about a very happy cow.
I wondered about the cow. The cow jumped over the moon.
So, you were spot on it, and I think that a lot of our viewers here as well. So here's another one: under the weather. Very easy.
Oh yeah, under the weather is sick, or not feeling very well. Some places it's a euphemism for having a hangover.
Yeah.
So
yeah. To be ill, not well. I'm feeling a bit under the weather.
Right. Now, I don't know where that came from, if it was just a general kind of feeling because of a rainy, stormy day or what.
Right. But it's an interesting, we'll have to revisit meanings or origins later. Here's one that I don't know. I never heard that one. Hit for six.
Hit for six?
Mm-hmm.
Can you use it in a sentence?
I could, but then you'd get it.
Hit for six.
I'm completely hit for six over that.
Nope. Got no idea. The only thing that comes to mind is football and maybe catching a forward pass. Frankie was hit for six.
Hit for six.
Mm-hmm.
So to be completely overwhelmed by something, this comes from cricket. A six is when the batsman hits the ball over the entire field and it lands outside the limits of the pitch, gaining 6 points.
Okay. See, yeah, I don't know the rules about. The only thing I know about cricket is how to spell it.
Okay. All right, so here we go with beat around the bush.
Yep. Beat around the bush it comes from hunting, I believe.
Really?
Rather than go in directly to drive, like say a pheasant or a duck or what have you, out of a dove or something, out of the, you would kind of beat around the bush, then flush it, to kind of drive your quarry into a certain area where you were ready for it and then go for the direct. So not quite getting to the point.
Yeah, that's how I would term it. That's how I would define it. I'd say, look, dude, stop beating around the bush. Just tell me what the story is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how and so what they say here is to be indirect, right, and perhaps even reluctant or tricky in saying or doing something, to hold back from being direct or straight. And it's commonly heard as stop beating around the bush. In other words, get on with it. So, yeah. Yep. Here's another one that I think that, it's all relevant to us, I believe, but it's blow your socks off.
Blow your socks off or knock your socks off. Just something that's going to surprise or astonish you.
Okay.
And, where I get, I don't know if this is the case or not, but when I hear phrases like this, I think the old comic books, the old funny papers.
Right.
Where you've got somebody who is just staggered by this revelation, and you can see they're kind of lifted up off the ground, kind of spread eagled in midair, and their shoes and socks are off. Their gloves are off. Their hat's about 1.5 feet off their head. Just astonishment. I don't know if that's where it comes from.
I wonder if the origin of it, because it's an interesting, so blow your socks or knock your socks, right? Either way.
Right.
Nobody is going to put explosives in your shoes. This is yet another non-literal one. Something which blows your socks off is an astonishing good thing. To blow someone's socks off is to make a very deep or positive impression. So they don't give us the origin, but we might have to revisit origins of certain sayings in a future episode.
Okay. Go for it.
Easy does it.
Slow and steady wins the race. Just relax, calm down. Easy does it.
You know what I think when I first read it, when I was prepping for the thing, when I read that, I thought in my mind, someone backing up, from a driveway or car park or whatever you want to call it, and someone saying, "All right, come on, easy does it,"
Yep.
and someone slamming on the frickin' accelerator and scraping the side of the car.
Yeah, that works right there. Yep. Exactly.
But it's an interesting easy does it. Easy does it. So the phrase doesn't really make any sense on its own. British people say it usually to accompany a challenging task, lifting a wardrobe up a tight flight of stairs, which is kind of the same thing as the car thing that we just talked about, often in a state of high concentration. And it basically means be careful, go gentle. So yeah, they don't say the origin. We might have to revisit origins at some time in the future.
Or, yeah.
Or what?
Well, I was just trying to think of the root and where it came from and everything else. And the easy would be in quotes. Easy does it. Fast doesn't, just
right.
Easy does it. Relax. So
I'll throw this one at you.
Okay.
I haven't read the thing, so I'll just say barking up the wrong tree. That is kind of, I know what it means and what it's used as, but origin-wise, who the heck knows? Barking up the wrong tree.
Coon hunting. Raccoon hunting. They would send the dogs out to tree the raccoons because they were easier to shoot when they were up a tree. And dog chased the trees, dog chased the coons, not the trees. Trees are real easy to chase. They don't move. Dog chased the raccoon. Raccoon goes up the tree and the dog barks around the base, barking up towards the raccoon he's just treed. Well, if you're barking up the wrong tree, the raccoon's over here. You have made a mistake. You've got the wrong tree. You've got the wrong person. You've got the wrong address. This is the wrong house. You're barking up the wrong tree.
Okay. This is a great phrase. It means to err in your judgment. Barking up the wrong tree has its origin. There you go, Mark. Damn. In hunting, where dogs were the key part of the pack, sniffing out the animals as it scrambled for refuge up in a tree or bush. Every now and then, their great sense of smell would fail, and they would bark up the wrong tree. Hence the phrase.
Right.
Pretty awesome, dude.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. To get the wrong end of the stick. There's other ways to say it that are not as nice.
Right. The wrong end of the stick basically means you.
The snotty end of the stick.
Yeah, you were the unlucky one. Now, the origin of that one, I don't know. I'm not sure. It could be any number of things. But yeah, given the wrong end of the stick, it just means you were the unlucky one.
And it could go wild if you have a imagination that.
Yes, it could.
Oh man. So here's one. Bite the bullet.
That's actually a fairly easy one. And it's portrayed a lot in Westerns, basically to toughen it out, just steel yourself up and tough it out and get through it. And that comes from the old days pre-anesthetic, where you've seen it in lots of Western movies where they give somebody the bullet to bite on while they're digging a bullet out of their leg or something like that, or setting a broken limb or something like that. Yeah. And I think it's actually an old wives' tale about the bullet, Western folklore, because number one, who can waste the ammunition? Number two, it's easier to find a stick to shove in the guy's mouth so he doesn't scream. Here, bite on this. It's not going to hurt anymore, but it gives you something to do.
Well, wasn't it? Don't you have it? So they always, I think it's the progression. They always take like a whiskey bottle and they uncork it. They give the guy, drink some of this, and he's like, oh, glug, 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 glug. And then they'll say, here, now bite on this. And then the freaking surgery occurs. And it's like, that's the anesthetic plus your grip on the side of the, I don't know,
Yeah.
So it says here again, and by the way, I always thought I correlated it with kicking the bucket, which to me, kicking the bucket means, croaking, keeling over or whatever.
Dying. Yeah.
So that's what I thought. So let's see what they say. I mean, I think it could mean both. I didn't use that terminology. That I didn't think that it was that, but and it says again, please don't take this literally. When this phrase first came into common usage, it meant a person without any sign of fear who acts with courage in the face of adversity. The phrase recollects a dangerous army practice in the 1850s, including the US and the UK, where soldiers were equipped with the British Enfield rifle. And in order to use it, they had to bite off the head of the cartridge to expose the explosives of the spark, which would ignite it. The producer was obviously potentially fatal, or I'm sorry, the procedure
Yeah.
fatal, particularly so in the middle of a battle. So anyone who did it was considered valiant. Now, however, the phrase seems to be closer to stop beating around the bush, it says, or something you encourage someone to do. Just bite the bullet, man. So I guess.
Now, see, I have never heard that story about biting the cartridge, because that's not the bullet, but you're biting off the end of the paper that wraps up the powder charge to pour down the muzzle, tamp, throw in the bullet, which was the actual ball, the
Right.
projectile,
Mhm.
and then, tap, boom.
Yeah.
I have never heard that associated with bite the bullet.
Do you doubt it, or are you
It's
just
not that
saying,
I doubt it. I'm just saying that I've not heard that. It just
Okay.
depends on where the source is.
Yeah.
But a lot of these phrase, a lot of the sources for some of these phrases, I can say, can be wrong, especially if it's an American website. Some of them get it wrong.
Oh yeah. So, by the way,
yeah.
we could, if folks want to, we can always revisit this topic and look for origins of sayings and such.
Mhm.
So, let us know over on the Trampled Underfoot podcast on Facebook.
Yep.
Yeah. And that wasn't for dramatic effect. I literally had a brain fart.
Right.
I went.
Mine earlier was for dramatic effect, but I don't know how dramatic it was. But hey.
So an arm and a leg. That cost me an arm and a leg.
Yeah, it cost a lot of money, but I don't know where it came from. I don't know. This may be apocryphal as well. It may be one of those legends years ago, before it was turned into the zoo. It was called a menagerie in London, and it ran for 600 years. And people paid admission to go in to this menagerie and see the animals, see the lions and see the tigers and giraffes and elephants and what have you. But if you brought in animals or animal parts to feed the animals, you got in admission free. You didn't have to pay to get in. So if you brought in a leg from a hog or from a goat or what have you to feed one of the animals, you didn't pay any admission.
That's very weird.
So it cost an arm and a leg. That's the only thing I can think of. It may or may not be true.
Okay, as far as the official definition of or why we use it, you're on the money, right? It's expensive. Something cost me. As far as the origin, we don't know. We will have to explore, or people could offer it up over or there on the website. Either way, whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, that's one's completely different. But imagine an imaginary menagerie manager managing an imaginary menagerie.
Wow. Well, and I do want to say that years and years and years ago, I saw Star Trek, The Menagerie, and I said, I have to look up what the heck that word means because I really didn't know. And I just kept watching the episode and I never, I got involved with it, but never took a moment to read up on the definition of menagerie. And I wonder how many people out there likewise have no freaking idea.
That was basically used to mean a collection of animals.
And that plays in with that episode of Star Trek, incidentally, in a roundabout way.
It was a collection of animals that were not there for zoological research or to, breed for scientific purposes or even for study. It wasn't there for any kind of a purpose other than to say, look at me, I've got a collection of these animals. That to me was the difference. What I learned was the difference between a menagerie and a zoo or a zoological garden.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and I'll just, I usually don't break into, because the way we do the conversation is we typically just focus on the conversation, and we have our way. But I did see Charles say, since he's visiting us for the first time, he said it's Trek, not track, Star Trek. And I probably said Star Trek and stuff, and that's very petty of you, Charles.
no prompting from the studio audience, please.
So here's the next one.
Right.
Crying over spilled milk.
Basically having a strong emotional reaction over something insignificant, for fear, especially as a kid, for fear you're going to get in trouble.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, stop crying over spilt milk. Okay. Hey, stop crying.
Right. So, stop making a mountain out of a molehill.
Yeah. So I think that's something, but I wonder what the origins of that. I mean, spilt milk in this case simply means anything that happened in the past. The most common phrase, there's no use crying over spilt milk. There's no point worrying about things that have already happened. And a similar phrase would be, it's all water under the bridge.
Okay.
Is what they say here.
Okay.
That's a piece of cake.
I wouldn't know where it means something easy or simple. But I wouldn't know the root of that. I mean, I'm not a baker, so to me, a piece of cake may be a little more difficult to make. In fact, can you make a piece of cake? I think you can make a cake, but I don't think you can make a piece of cake.
Not if you have that wedge with all the interior layers exposed. I don't know. Well, yeah, you could.
No, I don't think you can make a piece of cake. You can slice a piece of cake, but no matter how small you make that cake, it's still a cake. You would have to take a piece off of it.
No, it's a muffin then. A triangular muffin.
I don't know.
I'm no bakery expert here, so I'm not gonna. Don't quote me on that one.
It's kind of like, if you're gonna cut a pyramid in half horizontally, and you lift the top off of that pyramid, the bottom is a base.
Yeah.
But the top is still a pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
So, you can't make. I don't think you can make a piece of cake. You can only make a cake and then cut a piece of that. So that may be more difficult than it needs to be, but I think it's a valid point.
But wait a second. Can you make a cake in the shape and form of a piece of cake?
I'm sure somebody out there can, but it's not me. But you have still made a cake.
Right. In the shape of a piece of cake.
Right.
All right. Here's one. And with this one, we conclude the list. Stealing someone's thunder.
Oh, telling the punchline to somebody else's joke, or making the argument before someone else has a chance to make that argument.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and has that ever happened to you recently in maybe in hangouts with friends? I could tell you
only on a day that ends with Y. It happens. I mean, especially when you have people who think along the same lines.
Yeah.
About anything, but there is no excuse. And there's a special room, where, for people who will steal the punchline of the joke. You go through and you tell the joke and you get up to the very end and somebody else gives up your punchline. I think it's legally okay to stab them with a fork.
That's one of the
I may be wrong, but if it's not, it should be.
Dude, I'm sorry, but you're right. And look, there's actually an Abbott and Costello skit where they do just that. It's about going fishing. And Costello says, "All right, Abbott, I've got a story to tell you, and I just don't want any interruptions." And the whole skit, Abbott is interrupting him. But Costello keeps pushing forward, and the laughter is in the interruptions because he keeps asking the question, what fishing hole did they go to? What kind of fish was it? What kind of this? He kept messing up his story. And at the end, to top it off, he says, don't tell me that your punchline is the old fish story, da 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 da. And he tells the punchline by using that method. And it was all part of their skit. And it's the funniest thing, dude. Innocent, not of today's time, but really great.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of that stuff.
I'm going to find it. Look, every, forgive me for I'm just kidding. I'm going to find it. I'm going to post it as one of today's video. We always post something, when we have something over on our Facebook page, Trampled Underfoot Podcast, the Facebook page, and I'll post that Abbott and Costello. I know that it's easy for people to find, but I'll post it over there and you guys can check it out. So that's my contribution today.
Okay. Where are you going to post it?
Over on the Trampled Underfoot Podcast Facebook page.
Okay.
Damn, you made me say that twice. That was
where are you going to get it from?
From a site that offers videos, which I shall not name because which we're on right now.
Just wondered.
No, we're on right now. We also have a YouTube page, which is where we're broadcasting, and we broadcast every Tuesday at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific time. And then we post these the same Tuesday in the morning, the previous episode. So you can get us on Tuesdays every which way but loose.
And you know what? Not a single person has picked up on the fact that it's 2 for Tuesday. You get the audio podcast Tuesday morning, and then this live recording of next week's audio podcast Tuesday evening. It's 2 for Tuesday, folks. Double your pleasure, double your fun.
That's right. Around the clock Tuesday. So, do you have anything for us other than what we've gone through?
No, I don't have. That was it. I just kind of wanted to throw a few things out there and see where they landed. But, just basically, do the right thing. Don't be stupid. If you have to think about it more than once, if you have to go, wait a minute, should I do that? You probably shouldn't. You probably should.
I just think of one thing when you said that. And see, this is the reason you cannot, judge people. Like when you go to the store and it's easy to do because it's not my fault you're having a crummy day. You go to the store and like the attendee is like slow or rude or whatever the case might be. You don't know that person didn't just have some sort of horrific car breakdown, family issues, and you don't know that they're in that. There's so much we don't. We're actually speaking the same language here, but even on that level, people have different reactions and sort of, ideas of definitions in their mind over certain words. And if you put them in a specific way together and offer that to another person, you might be thinking giving them something polite, and they might be taking like, this guy's trying to frickin' massacre me. Yeah, we are navigating waters that appear to be charted, but people are worlds, universes unto themselves. So we can't really, make sense of it. We can only sort of take care of our business is what I'm trying to
Yeah,
get.
you just went through a big old long list of American phrases, and what you're talking about right now reminded me of one of my grandmother's favorites, which was either tend to or mind, but basically mind your own rat killing.
That's pretty
And
savage.
that was basically mind your own business. You worry about you. Don't worry about somebody else.
Yeah,
Mind your own rat killing or tend to your own rat killing.
that's pretty savage.
Yeah. Well, East Texas, what do you want?
Um. So I was I kind of got sidetracked when I was telling you all the lead up to whatever I started to say, and I forgot the what I started to say part. But yeah, I've got nothing more for you. So if you're good, well,
I'm good. I'm great.
all right. So listen, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. We hope that you enjoy our time here, and go ahead and share it with folks if you feel compelled. It sure would do us good, and we'll catch you. Go ahead.
One more thing, real quick. I'm sorry to interrupt, more
Yep.
or less like Bud Abbott. But if you've got any of those favorite phrases from your grandma, like Grandpa used to say when he was giving somebody directions, go up there up the road a fur piece, make a left. It was a fur piece. It wasn't go down the road about a mile. Go up there a few fur piece.
Yeah.
You got anything like that? Throw them over to us. Throw them over. No, just go over to the Trampled Underfoot Podcast Facebook page and leave us a comment. And I like these little collections of little phrases. I only chew my cabbage once. I won't repeat myself.
Don't throw the
So
baby out with the bathwater.
no, don't do that. Don't do that.
You know.
So other than that, go head on over to the Facebook page and leave us a few of your little gems. I like them. I like stuff like that.
So all right. Catch you guys next time, and enjoy the rest of your week. Oh, come on.
Bye.
You did it again, dude.
I'm going to continue to do it.